Tell me, has any artist ever dared to put her brush to the Mona Lisa? Any sculptor ever ventured to better the David's physique? Has any critic ever looked up at the Sistine Chapel and had the audacity to talk about what it was missing? Then why is it every morning you fix your vision on what you think are your imperfections? You're a misguided masterpiece. Misinformed about beauty, you are a good book that desperately wants to be sung. A full moon that wants nothing more than to be a sunset. You are a marble sculpture that will trade it all to be made into paint. Too many full moons have allowed themselves to be slain, hoping to resurrect as a sunset. Too many sculptures ground down and mixed with water and color to be made into paint, to be put on a canvas in which they never belonged. Too many good books compromise the integrity to be made into a song, to be sung by a mug that can't carry a note, let alone you. So it is my hope that you learn your value, that you understand your worth, that you know that God is an artist and he's sensitive about his shit, so it may take him a second to reveal his work. You are one of a kind. There are no prints, no duplicates, some counterfeits, pay them no mind. I look at you and think, what could God have seen to create something so beautiful? So gorgeous, so confusing, so amazing. These words don't begin to explain what went into your creation. It is my hope that you learn that you were crafted with passion. Thank you. So I wrote that piece back in 2014-ish. I really love art. I was at an art museum. I was inspired by love. And then this one is called The Art of Our Love, so it's in a similar vein. If you only knew that in you, the Lord created a masterpiece that would make Michelangelo envy, could be the muse of Da Vinci, could straighten out Picasso and make Vincent van Gogh sew his ear back on just to hear you speak. You're the rib removed in my sleep. And I promise to love you brilliantly. I promise to love you the way Einstein solved problems, the way Jordan played ball, the way Mozart heard music. I promise to love you the way Mike felt the rhythm, the way Stevie saw songs. Yes, the way Stevie Wonder saw songs, deeper than these five senses can explain, with agape, with a love that's beyond me, with a love that stretches me, puts my flesh to the fire and burns out all impurity so I could love you purely in a way that my ego and pride doesn't hinder, as we be in tune to the melody of Christ-centered living. And I'm willing to be a pallbearer to my own flesh, dance and step in celebration of his death so I could love you at my best, because you, baby, you are a blessing. A Proverbs 31:10 type woman, the good thing a man searches for his entire life. Will you be my wife? She said yes, but the book is called How to Grieve. I got divorced. Awkward laugh. Oof. Yeah. It's interesting. It was a bit of a journey putting the book out, right? My kind of toxic masculinity, my internal wanted to say I wasn't that much in love. You ain't hurt me that bad. But the truth is, it hurt me bad. Bad, y'all. Like, I look good now. This time last year, shit. You lived with me. It was bad. And it took a while to rebuild. One of the things that helped me rebuild was poetry. So I had went 7 years without performing. I performed that piece. Then I started grad school, got married, became a therapist, adulted, stopped writing, and did all of the adult stuff. And it wasn't until my world shifted, right? So I viewed myself as a husband. I viewed myself as a therapist. It wasn't until my world shifted that I got back to doing this. So May of last year was the first time I performed in 7 years. And there was this period of how do I both process this pain, but also rebuild a new future. So that piece of the book is called Eulogy. It's the last good word on something beautiful. The next part of the book is this idea of getting in touch with the emotion. And for me, the emotion was heartbreak. This piece is called Divorce. Divorce. It's the legal dissolution of a marriage by a court. It's also what I like to call open heart surgery. It's knowing that joint failed, but wishing they didn't have to cut your chest open. It's Thanksgiving, and my 5-year-old niece looking me dead in my face and asking, Uncle, are you ever going to get married again? Sheesh. It's thinking, little girl, you ask your daddy this shit. Better yet, Bluey's on. Why are you grappling with our legacy of failed marriages? It's a forehead kiss. It's soft reassurances, baby girl, I don't know. But Uncle's never been the kind to give up hope. It's realizing that even though her question was satisfied, that's the first time I looked in her big brown eyes and lied. Because if I'm being honest, hope left November 2nd, where after 12 years, she looked me dead in my face and said, a lot. And it hurt. The point is divorce. It's the legal dissolution of a marriage by a court. It's also what I like to call open heart surgery. It's knowing that joint needs to come out, but trying to negotiate how much of your chest they're going to cut open. Divorce. When done well, it's something like a rebirth. It's getting so lost in thought that new imaginations are on earth. It's self-love and self-care, and it's falling in love with new possibilities. It's self-love and self-care and really good therapy. It's being with your friends and falling apart. And them reminding you who you are. It's Brian reminding me that I'm a reflection of the image of God's goodness. It's Josh meeting me at the gym multiple days a week at ungodly AMs. It's Mukay, God rests his soul, being the world's best and worst wingman. It's Michaela not letting me settle for anything other than honor and respect. And it's definitely not conceding to me being a project divorce. It's a beautiful, messy, complicated process. Divorce. It's the legal dissolution of a marriage by a court. It's also what I like to call open heart surgery. It's submitting to your chest being cut wide open. Thank you. Can I be honest with y'all? I was lying on that one. Right? I'm a poet. And one of the dangers of being an artist is I create in so many spaces, right? So as you guys came in, you saw all of my paint supplies on the porch, which my Grammy promptly told me that I should have cleaned up. I'm sorry, Grammy. I should have had that off my porch. I write, and one of the dangers is I make myself my canvas. And that was an example of me making myself the canvas. This is a more accurate reflection of what happened. I cuss at the beginning of this. I kind of been cussing this far, but I say a hard cuss word at the beginning of this. I apologize in advance. The problem is, she doesn't know how many times I swallowed the word bitch, allowed it to burn my esophagus, turned those ashes into diamonds and presented them as gifts. Baby, I love you. You're brilliant. You're gorgeous. Baby, I got you. Whatever you need. Ooh. That was a little mean. You're still being mean. Yo, help me understand why you're being so mean. How much more do you want from me? How much more do you want me to carry? Like I ain't strapped the earth to my shoulders, left the moon in orbit and walked like there wasn't gravity. Like I also ain't been deprived of oxygen. Like I ain't put your mask on before I put on mine and died. Death by offering you my last breath. See, the problem is, I entered this with poor boundaries and worse self-worth. I equated love with work. And ain't nobody gonna outwork me. Ain't nobody gonna outserve me. And y'all all just heard me say, I'm gonna be a pallbearer to my own flesh. The problem is my aim ain't the best. I blew a hole in my whole chest. Now I'm left alone with a whole mess thinking wholeness is a pipe dream at best. The problem is, I told her she was the rib removed in my sleep. Like, I ain't a good church boy. Like, I don't know the story of Adam and Eve, how Adam abdicated his power to lead, how Eve fell for the deceit of a serpent sowing seed, saying, you surely won't die, but you will live in misery. The problem is we were committed while still kids, had wounds deeper than our tools could ever fix. Thank you. So we are going to transition into the moderated discussion part of it. I have just a phenomenal moderator today. So sitting in front of me is Marquise Devon. About a year ago, I ended up at an event called Due Diligence, and my mind was blown. Marquise is a podcaster, an educator, an entrepreneur, a DAI, dope ass individual.
Oh, okay. I said, I don't know that.
Yeah. I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah, we're here.
Never heard of it.
Right.
Like DEI?
That's what I thought. So,
Yeah.
Did I do that?
But my favorite to refer to Marquise as is a thought leader. From the podcast, This American Negro, to the Instagram clips, to the conversations, I'm consistently blown away by your content. So join me in welcoming to the area, Marquise Devon. I practice it in the mirror.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that was good practice in the mirror. Huh? Hey, how y'all living? Like you said, my name is Marquise Devon, educator, podcaster, public speaker, all the good stuff, but just a DAI, dope individual.
There you go.
I appreciate that. So we're going to just hop into discussion.
Cool.
It's real, just moderation, just conversation. If y'all hear something and y'all have another question, feel free to also chime in too.
Yep,
But
sounds good.
off rip, like, I'm a huge fan of your writing, first and foremost. I remember when did you send this to me? How many months ago?
At least 6 or 7.
6 or 7 months ago. And I had the opportunity to just like sit with it.
Yeah.
And this was something, a lot of emotions I've personally just never experienced. Like heartbreak and the level of grieving through the risk of romance. Like, I think that is just like bonkers. And so like for you to be able to put something out like this, that's a very vulnerable thing to do in a time where masculinity it keeps us stoic as Black men in particular, and we are trying to sift through these emotions in our own space. And it's someone like you being a therapist, but you also having to like manage all of this at the same time.
Yeah.
So I preface all that to say is like, let's start with your rebirth. Why did you start with eulogy?
I think my first inclination was to bury all of the love poetry. So my heart was broken, and it was broken publicly. Like, Instagram sucks, y'all. Like, so my ex moved to Atlanta, found her a rapper. I don't know if she actually found her a rapper. That's a song.
Jasmine Sullivan.
Yeah,
those things.
But it happened so publicly. So my first thing was to be like, I wasn't even that in love. And as I was charting out what I thought would bring healing, I had just made a list of things that I wanted to do. And on that list was publish a poetry book. So I'm going through my poetry and I'm like, a lot of this is love. And I was thinking although my inclination is to hide, my inclination is to be stoic, my inclination is to act like I have the answers. The truth is, and the inclination is to act like it wasn't this great love. There was nothing good that happened. Spent 12 years with her. There were a lot of beautiful things. I thought this idea of a funeral and starting with the last good words, the beauty that happened, and leading in the vulnerability in that way. Leading in, hey, we can talk about this real thing and also honor the love. I can be heartbroken and honor the love that I had. And I thought it was important not to just try to bury that and get rid of it.
Right, because I think something that you did really well, especially in eulogy, that was all love. Like, you were these were the happy moments. This was euphoria. But in that too, I think around, you said that was 18. How old are you now? You said 12 years ago. How old are you now?
Yeah, I'll be 31 next month.
31. So you was 18 around this time and experiencing like all of these emotions. So in one of your pieces, you talk around being so young.
Yeah.
What was it like in the midst of all of that? Do you feel as if it was all these rose-colored glasses? Did you tend to like, just like you said, you swallowed some stuff?
Yeah.
And do you think that was just important to sustain the relationship, or do you feel like you didn't put yourself first enough?
This is a great question. I think I was young first. I met my ex-wife at 16. So you just don't know what you're looking for. And then particularly some of my specific trauma is around knowing that I'm lovable. So at this particular time, I'm isolated in being homeschooled. I'm not getting along with the people around me, not that much. I'm not feeling super seen. And she came in and she did that, right? So it was what was maybe the bare minimum felt like this amazing thing.
Right.
And then I think one of the facets of my personality that I turned off as a young person is I'm a challenger. Like I'm very much like, nah, like let's talk about it. Let's get there. And that was often met with heat. So you challenge people and you know, some of it too is like, if I'm being honest with y'all, I was challenging teachers. You know, I'm 8, like, that's not how we supposed to be doing this. Shut up, kid.
Opposition of the crime.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. So I learned to shut that part of me down. So then when unhealthy treatment was happening in the relationship, I'm assuming it's me. Like I did something, right? I'm not lovable. I have to correct. I have to do better. So I think that carried over. So I didn't do a great job of really advocating for myself. And that's what that line is. The problem is she doesn't know how many times I swallowed the word bitch. I'm not advocating at all to call anybody that. I'm really saying, there were so many times where I could have advocated for myself. There's so many times I could have said, hey, that thing that you did hurt me. That thing that you did was impactful. And I just kept it pushing.
Is that because you didn't have an example of like what that could look like potentially too?
I think that's a part of it. I also think my upbringing, I was told that I was too critical. So like when something happens and I have a critique, I'm like, oh no, that's me being critical. So let me not do that. There's this really funny story in premarital counseling. It was really out of nowhere, but it was looking back, it's really funny. The premarital therapist was like, never call her a bitch, and I whispered it. And I was like, I'm not. Like, it's cool. And he's like, no, never do it. And I was like, Doc, I'm good. And then years later, I understand that level. I think he saw something in like, hey, you're going to swallow a lot of emotions and they're going to build up on you. And you need to be aware that that's something that can come out of you if you're not managing that.
Which I think beautifully like even segues into heartbreak. Because in heartbreak, throughout this entire section, between you had your affirmations, you had the love letters, but you started blocking stuff out.
I did.
And like the original pieces of just like love 001, love 002 is now you blocking out. And to me, it's like a metaphor of you swallowing your words and saying what you really want to say.
Yeah.
And so in that, when did you find the space to acknowledge your anger and then after that go beneath what the root of that anger was?
It took some time. I was in therapy and I'm talking and my therapist was like, you sound like this is happening to somebody else. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you're talking about this very clinically. She did this, you felt this thing happened. He's like, but I don't believe that you're feeling anything. And I was like, you ain't got to talk to me so loud. Why are you yelling at me? So those specific pieces that you're referring to.
Loved redacted.
Yeah, let me just get to them. I went to your event, the due diligence that I was talking about, and
37.
37. Thank you. Look at you.
I'm an English teacher. We got it. Yeah. Keep notes.
So I went to a due diligence was this phenomenal event. Balmore was featured, and Balmore has this feature on his album called Friend Zone Freddy. Friend Zone Freddy is him, but in a deeper cadence, and it's like the bad guy of the album. And I was sitting there, I was like, I wonder, and the purpose of the album, plugging somebody else, but it was a phenomenal album. It's called Double HP. If you have streaming services, listen to it. The premise of the album is on the first half of the album, he's a good guy. The second half of the album, he's been hurt and he's now hurting people, right? So I was listening to him. I was like, yo, Freddie's on the first part of this album, though. So I was like, let me go back and look at my love poetry and see if I was telling on myself throughout it. So just for some context, I wrote a love poem. It's short. It says, your skin is honey dipped, sun kissed to perfection. I find beauty in your complexion, mystery in your complexities that drive me crazy, but there's always a little fun and madness. And as I was sitting really processing my emotions, I started going back to this to say, yo, was I telling on myself? Like, was I really indicating how I felt? So the redacted version is, you drive me crazy. There's always madness. And these are all just, and as you guys look at the book, they're all just, and I did that for a couple pieces. I did it on Misguided Masterpiece, which is the one I started with. I said, tell me, why did I try to fix your imperfections? Because I was misinformed about beauty. You are a good book, a full moon, a marble sculpture. It is my hope that you learn your worth. It is my hope that you appreciate and revel in the way that you were crafted. I also had to end that say, what is it like? What was my role in this as well? And that was my part of it. And looking at that.
Yeah, and that's going to be the last piece for me too, is like looking back on it. It takes a while to be able to not say it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. You did this, you did this, you did this. But taking that moment to, one, acknowledge the role that you played and affirm this role that you played in how she may have been feeling, but also affirming yourself in like your feelings. Yeah. And so when you had to finally acknowledge, like, all right, let me put the mirror up to me. What was that moment like for you? And did that potentially like shift your relationship? Or did it even push you to be like, actually, maybe this, and now hindsight, maybe I wasn't supposed to be in this marriage?
Yeah. It's really interesting. I think my natural go-to is look at me first. So when it all happened,
were you honest with your self-criticism?
Yes, but I'll get there in a second because there's levels to it.
Okay,
Great
I get
question.
a little delusional with my own stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wayne, I remember having a conversation with Wayne, and Wayne was drilling consequences. I was talking about the things I did wrong, and he was like, "Yeah, she up and moved to Atlanta, bro," and posted on Instagram like, she wants to come back now, but consequences, the consequence there. So I think my initial thing was, hey, this is all stuff I did wrong. I wasn't home. I'm working a lot. I can be depressive, all this other stuff. And that was the first level. And then there was the level of, this is her unhealthy part of the relationship. And then there was a deeper level to what you're talking about. I started my proposal piece off with, if you only knew. The foundation of the love was me convincing her of something that she did not believe. That shit was never going to work.
Right.
Never. Like, that's just that. And just imagining the pressure it must feel like to be with somebody who that's their role, is convincing you of something that you don't believe. Whether I'm right or wrong, that's tiring. So she had to deal with that for years. Years of me seeing something and me driving at this thing. And quite frankly, me trying to change her into something that she wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's real too. So I appreciate, one, thank you for sharing that, because I think that's just a space of honesty to understand, one, what role did I play? But that helps you move forward in other relationships that you get into, and not just romantic, but also familial, friendship, platonic. Yeah. All of that matters. So as we end off this portion of eulogy and heartbreak, how have you seen your friendships navigate differently, or your relationships in general navigate differently after your recognition?
Yeah, I think, one, I'm able on the front end to be more gracious with myself. So my initial thing was to blame myself. So then seeing, okay, hey, I'm not always the blame was super healthy. But then two, understanding that I can be high driving, I can be depressive, I can be all of these things that can impact people, and really asking for that accountability, talking to people, being mindful of how I'm impacting people, and also being mindful of myself. Like, am I putting that same pressure on me? And what does that look like? And I still haven't mastered that part. We was talking last week.
Oh, yeah, we was.
So let me mess that. I be putting that pressure on myself still, but trying not to put the pressure on people around me. So that's kind of where I sit now. I'm still working through the emotional part of it, but Yeah.
That's a fact. And I appreciate the grace that you keep extending to yourself, and make sure you extend the grace to everybody else. I mean, that's for everybody in the room. Make sure you always are graceful with yourself.
Yes.
But take that time, and thank you for sharing like these first couple parts of like sharing out the eulogy of the love that you had, but then the heartbreak, accessing every emotion possible between anger, sadness, heartbreak being the root, but also that's the foundation of you getting into your Phoenix analogy. Now, what did the rebirth part look like in the second half of the book? So we'll get to the rebirth part, but I'm gonna let him get back to his
Thank
thing.
you.
All right.
So a part of the healing was me like really leaning into my support system. One of the things I just shared was that probably one of my core dysfunctions is that I don't believe I'm lovable. It's the voice that gnaws at the back of my head. And when my ex-wife, middle of pandemic, November 2020, we have a routine. I get up, I come downstairs, I make coffee, I make her tea, I bring my coffee up to the second floor, drop it off in my office, bring the tea up to the third floor, she's in her office, give her a tea, give her a kiss on the forehead, get started with clients. So I come in with the tea, and I hand her a tea, give her a kiss on the forehead, and the energy was just like, what's up? So I said, what's up? And she was like, I don't love you anymore. Exactly. Yeah, like no lead in, no like, I was like, that came out of nowhere. I think the first question I asked was how long, and we began to talk about that. And then I shut my emotions off. I went downstairs, I got on my computer, and I did 6 hours of therapy. Not healthy. But what happened was it rang this bell. It was like, see, that's true. You knew you were unlovable. You knew all those times people were bullied you. You knew all those harsh words that were said to you. You knew that was true. And I think maybe the godsend of that season, somebody got a Snickers wrapper back in the... You're not yourself when you're hungry. And so it rang that bell. And the godsend of that season of my life was my friends really surrounded me. Like they had this sense that, no, he's about to slip into the abyss and we're not going to let it happen. So they would call me, they would check on me. The ones that had a key to the back door would pull up on the house. They wouldn't let me dive into the depths of the sadness that I felt. They let me feel, but it was like, no, you're not slipping away here. So this next section is about what it is to find your support system. So I'm gonna do a piece for my mom's. She's not here, but she'll see it and she'll be like, oh, you did a piece for me. I'm gonna do a piece for my dad, and then we'll move into the next section. Mama, I'm sorry in proxy. I apologize for the times that the grit in my voice opened past hurts, reminded you of words that never should have went in your direction. I'm sorry I didn't use better discretion with my attitude during my adolescence. I could have hurt you less. And Mama, you are correct. There are traits that me and my father share, but I need you to be aware I am more Joshua than Martin. I may be cut from the same cloth, but I'm a different garment, woven into a blanket, stretched wide. Watch me lay down and cover my wife, provide her love, support, healing, and protection. Watch as I create a safe space for us to raise children. I hope this brings you healing. And this is important. A lot like your ability to fish, you are off the hook. I've written this in this book, and this is hard, but you're worth it. Forgiveness, you've earned it. Better yet, you deserve it. Thank you. It took me some years to see, but now I understand. You pulled together your broken pieces to raise me. I am your baby, your youngest, the one who gave you stretch marks and hips. I am your champion. I possess your grip, your child. That's always down for the cause. You're lion in the jungle. You're rebel without a pause. I am the embodiment of your will, the very thing the devil tried to steal and kill. I am the best of you. And you said you spoiled me, and now I see. You gave me an embarrassment of riches, self-sacrificial love. You stretched beyond your limits. You are more than enough. I am spoiled because of the example I got to witness. That's the piece from my mama. It's really interesting. There's this dynamic with me and my mom. We kind of had a rough childhood. I wasn't potentially as gracious as I needed to be. I wasn't as gracious as I needed to be with her. And I also think there were some wounds that she was working through. And one of the pieces of healing for me in general was seeing my mom as a person. Like, I don't know if y'all know this. Y'all parents are people. And it seems like a basic thing, but like Pops was Rodney long before he was Pops. So being able to see him as a person, being able to see my mom as Michelle also helped me have grace and then heal. So the next piece is from my Pops. He doesn't like when he's in the center of attention, so I'm gonna make it dramatic and look in your eyes the whole time. So this piece is called Hero. My hero doesn't know he has power, has forgotten he's just as much Kal-El as he is Clark Kent, and I couldn't have guessed it when we met, but hidden behind those thick glasses was the strength of two men. He's shown it ever since, day in and day out for 24 years and counting. He doesn't know he has supervision. He looked at two boys and saw men, met a broken woman and envisioned a wife and envisioned a life with all of them. He doesn't know that life is hidden in his lungs, waiting for his tongue to push it through his lips into existence. And even with this, there is no one who has had more of an impact, no quieter voice that has been as loud. I still want to make him proud. I am blessed to say that my hero is my dad. One of the most impactful things in healing is my dad came back. So he was in Massachusetts for a couple of years. And I think the same weekend my ex-wife moved out, my dad moved in. Yes, amen. I needed it. I needed the destabilizing force that you were. I needed the conversations. And the thing that I love about talking to my dad is we'll start off with sports or music. And it'll turn into life. And it was a season where I was able to both really learn who my dad is and empathize with him, but then also share some of my wounds in a way that allowed for us to grow closer. So I wouldn't be where I am without you prior to that, but especially not since that. And then even his ability to gather people. There are so many people who know me because they know my dad. And there are so many people who love me because they love my dad. And that in and of itself is a blessing. So again, thank you.
When he gathered us, he told us to all bring money today, spend money. He told us that. He said, bring your money.
And are y'all listening? Yeah, right? Like, well, that'll be the. I thought he said he was going to give us money. I'm almost positive he didn't say that. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? I think I want to move to the next section. This next section, that word is eating me up today. So the next section was about reconnecting with myself. As we were discussing earlier, there was a point in my life where I said, hey, who I am is problematic, so I'm going to turn it off. So the part of me that challenges, the part of me that is willing to stand opposite, the part of me that's opinionated, I'm going to be quiet. And I'm not authentically a quiet person. So start off with the introduction and we'll move through a couple of things. My name is Joshua Martin Smith. It's too divine for my mama not to have meant this. It literally means God is deliverance and God of war. It created a perfect storm that both explains why I could preach and even the school, break your jaw and deliver you to the Lord. Why I come with the duality of a Gemini and Taurus form, got more fury than a woman scorned, and it's a norm that writers retire their pen after I perform. Thank you. All right. Yeah, all right. So it's quick. Quick introduction. The last piece in this section, there's more in the book, but for the sake of time, it's called Proverbs 16:32. It was a scripture that may not have been the most healthy for me. I love the Bible, but the time that this scripture was applied and the way that it was applied wasn't the most healthy. So I'm gonna get started. I suddenly forgot how it starts. There's this book called How to Grieve that you guys should buy. And it's in that book. This is the book right here. All right. I was raised in the church. And there was this verse that was drilled into my head. Proverbs 16:32 says, better a patient man than a warrior. A man who controls his temper than one who takes a city. The problem is no one asked me why at 3 I was always so ready. Why by 4 I had decided life was war. By 5 I was a soldier in it. 6 I had become militant. 7 proficient in my weapons. A sharp tongue and a mean right hook. By 8 I'd unleash either on anyone who gave me a weird look. By 9 I had decided sooner rather than later I'd die. 10 I realized I'd have a hand in it. By 11 I was planning it. By 12, I was a shell of myself. At 13, it seemed the adults around me overlooked my sadness. 14 deemed that there was a fire raging inside of me. 15 said, you know what that boy needs is control. 16, what they didn't know is how often I spared their sons broken jaws. 17, better yet, broken hearts, because my tongue has always been more sharp. 18 is about when I learned the power of disguise. That smiles help you hide. And if you're kind, they will leave you alone. 19 to almost 29, I had drifted so far from home in mirrors, I was unrecognized. 29, I started chasing horizons, just hoping that the waves I was riding would help me at arriving in dry land, a place I could finally firmly stand. 30, I decided again I would never give up my voice and went back and looked at that choice. I think for me, Proverbs 16:32 probably should have said, best a patient man and a warrior, a man who controls his temper and one who takes a city, who knows how to keep his integrity while moving through a place that's filthy, and that is who I'm trying to be. Thank you. I was pondering the thought of my 5-year-old niece. Are you ever going to get married again? And my initial answer was no. Get out my face, child. You're 5. And none of my friends believed that. They were like, stop it, Josh. You're a lover. I was like, again, why are you guys talking so loud at me? So this next session is called Hope. It's 3 pieces that I'm going to work into 1 piece. And then we'll get back into conversation. To my next whoever, I know I'm handing you these broken pieces, but look close. The cracks lead to my heart. It's weathered, but still strong. And to my next whoever, I'ma be honest. I ain't trying to sweep you up off your feet. I prefer my love grounded, rooted deep. I'm talking mutuality, shared affection, independence while moving in the same direction. I'm too old for a romance in a whirlwind. I ain't looking for a Bonnie to my Clyde. I don't need a ride or die. I'm looking for a ride and live, a ride and win, sharing our dreams so we can make them exist. You know, grown folk shit. The kind of love that's worth waiting for. And I've been patiently anticipating the things I've been praying for, and most of them ain't got nothing to do with you. I've been petitioning God for healing to these deep wounds, so when I look in the mirror, I got the clearest of views. So my life produces the ripest of fruits, and my cup overflows, and you get the sweetest of juice. And to my next whoever, I'm sorry, Grammy. I'm just trying to make your ovaries write poetry. I'm trying to make your fallopian tubes make room, have your body do and feel things that you ain't know it could do. And that's my way of saying I want to start a family. A unity between you and me and the Most High, so we can heal wounds on both sides. Thank you. Welcoming back.
All right. So the second half of the book is my personal favorite, especially as you start off with support. Mm-hmm. And to me, as you define it in the book, support is a verb to hold up or serve as a foundation or prop for, to keep from fainting, yielding, or losing courage. And so as he talked around support, as you are broken into your shell of yourself, it is now means I have to go back to a foundation. What is the thing that's actually holding you up?
Yeah.
And the big pieces that I'm seeing thematically throughout here is your family. You have one for your mom, your pops, and also you have one in religion.
I do.
And so I think these are like pivotal pieces. So I'm looking at that, and I want to start with your mom. So you put her first. And how did your mom impact your relationship with your ex-wife?
Yeah.
Well, your relationship to your mom impact your relationship to your ex-wife?
Really interesting. It's changed over time. Great question. You been talking to my therapist?
Mind your business. Stay out of your business.
I think my mom is obviously the first relationship I've had with a woman. I think the thing that I learned from my mom is to be very tender. So even in some of the places where I was not as advocating for myself in my relationship, it's because I've seen men not be tender with my mom. So my biological father, I've seen him not be tender, and I made just a promise early that's not going to be me. And then I wasn't tender with my mom because I felt this tension between us. So I think it was 2015 I wrote that piece. 2015, 2016, I just left it for her. She was on her way to a women's conference. I put it on the door and let her get it. And our relationship has switched since. And particularly throughout the divorce, the thing that was super sustaining about my mom is that she understood. And in a much more serious way. As far as divorces go, my joint was nice. We ain't had nothing. Ain't no house to split up. Ain't no kids involved. It's about as nice of a divorce as it could be. Yeah, it's a blessing. Yeah, listen, get up. But my mom got divorced at 25, 26 with 2 kids, and had to suddenly figure out, how do I do this all? So when I talked to my mom was just so you're gonna be okay. I know it hurts, and she would cry with me, but there was that consistent no, you're going to be okay. I think I wrote it really well in here. I want to find it. Oh no, where is it? Y'all got to read the book to get this one. I said, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my mama, who, at a younger age and with 2 children, endured a similar experience with more grace than I ever could. With the simplicity of few words, she reminded me that the story wasn't over, that she foresaw hard times, and had already covered me in prayers in anticipation of healing and greatness. I could write a book just fully on that topic, how my mom was already prepared for me to overcome. And I think even now that informs how I do relationships. I come in tender, but with boundaries. Tender, but with the ability to advocate with myself or know for myself. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah. No, because I think that is super important, because oftentimes what we start to see is young boys who are raised by their moms or have a deeper connection, we start to resent them because we're just you're always nagging, you're always nagging, you're always nagging. And that translates into our relationship with other women. So it's always being mindful that we are not projecting what we felt should have happened.
I think for me, it was the opposite. I really wanted to be a mama's boy.
Right.
I really wanted my mom to see me as sweet and to see me as kind and to see me as loving. And I think there was a period where we were disconnected, and I resented her for that. I resented her for the wounds that I resented her for things I should have resented other people for. Right. This thing happened to you. All right, y'all, I'm trying to be cool. My Grammy keeps disrupting things.
So Grammy's home.
Yeah. Let's go to that one. But I think I resented her for things that happened to her compared to really empathizing. And I think I got to an age and a space where I could see my mom as a person, and seeing my mom as a person then allowed me to be able to process through the things, allowed me to really come to grips and take accountability for the areas that I wasn't soft with my mom, that I only furthered the wounds that she had already experienced.
Right. Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. That's a beautiful thing of a process to go through, especially as you begin to develop relationships outside. And so I think that's also important to even think, and it's not on the list of questions, but now I'm actually looking at Grammy's home.
Yes.
And so like, what was it? Like, I think there's such a foundational aspect to going back a generation.
Yeah.
Because there is something particular around like how grandparents treat their grandbabies.
Yeah.
And so was there a sense of tenderness that you were able to have in your Grammy's house? Because as you're going through this, you refer to her home as the most magnificent museum.
Yeah, actually, where's Grammy at? Can I read you a poem, Grammy? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Nancy Smith. Can I read you a poem, Grammy? All right. So this piece is called Grammy's Home. Your home is the most magnificent museum. Curated crystal collections cascading across counters and mantles. It taught me to be gentle. And when I wasn't, you taught me grace. Never batted an eye at broken plates. Everything is perfectly placed and still leaves room for what matters. Family, love, and laughter. Your rooms are vaults. Their four walls graciously guarding generational gems. I mine memoirs and memories of family and friends. Photograph portraits pointing towards the sweetest spoils of our family tree. Your sun porch is equal parts garden and library. The very place that piqued my curiosity. From the Renaissance in Harlem to healing home remedies, your shelves are where wisdom sleeps. Your kitchen cooks more than delicious recipes. Satiated stomachs and smiling souls feast. History speaks. Vivid visions cast clearly where vines from your tree. Lessons learned in your living room, draped in beautiful blues. As rhythm repair wounds and soulful singers swoon. Tunes tune tumultuous moods, my sorrow soothe, gratitude grows with each groove. So it's that's a piece not just about my Grammy's home, but about my relationship. The thing that I've always appreciated about you is I felt loved and understood early. My grandmother's home is beautiful. Like the crystal, curated crystal collections cascading, that's real, like beautiful. And I was a clumsy child, so I broke things. And I would know immediately that like, yo, this is really important. And my Grammy just didn't bat an eye. She'd be like, yep, let's clean it up. And she would teach me how to clean it up. Here's the broom. Here's how you do it. Here's how you be more careful. So I always say like, and my Grammy will say this, like, I am a grandmama's boy. Grammy took me to my first concert, Frankie Beverly and Maze.
Okay.
That's my first concert, Frankie Beverly and Maze. Before I Let You Go. Okay. Good concert. And even now, hang out with Grammy. I was just playing Pekino with Grammy and cousin Stephanie 2 weeks ago. So there were areas of my relationship with my Grammy that I wanted from my mom,
right, of
just being able to be sweet, being able to just roll with her.
Yeah, and I think it's like a beautiful thing. Like I said, grandparents, they get to see a different side because they treat grandkids better, different than they treat their own kids. Not better, no. Don't do that. We get away with a little bit more. But in reality, like there's a tenderness that comes along with it because they went through it already one time, so they know how to do better the next time, right? Yeah. And I think it's beautiful because laced throughout here is also a matriarch that I can start to see is like the women in your life have impacted you so greatly. Yeah. And I think that's just a beautiful piece of a foundation. But I think it also takes you now to the energy of your father. Yeah. Your pops, right? Pops. Hey, yo. How you doing? But I think that's even another piece where you get to sit and observe. Yeah. And I'm thinking like religiously, you get to bear witness to another man. Yeah. And so like, what is that like for you and what permission did Pops give you? Yeah, I think young boy. A lot. So I talked about the wound of not feeling like I had a voice or feeling like being opinionated was a problem. And one of the few people who didn't do that with me is my pops. At a very young age, he allowed me to argue. He allowed me to reason. He allowed me to talk back. He allowed me to really form my own opinion. And I don't think, I think without my pops, that part of me would have died. Or better yet, I would have killed that part of me. I said, hey, nobody else likes this. That's dead. I'm going to put it away. And then watching how my pops moves, there are people in this room who have an affinity towards me because of their affinity towards my pops. Mr. Bill, years ago, almost a decade ago, gave me an internship just purely off of his relationship with my dad. There are just opportunities upon opportunities. And then modeling manhood. Like
what it is to be consistent, what it is to be loving, what it is to be gentle. My dad always says he made it a decision early that he would never yell at us. He wouldn't be physical with us. He knew what we had come from. So even what that is to know, this is the legacy that I'm coming from. And then even my personality, like I'm a lot like my pops in a lot of really good ways. Often a sounding board, often an encourager. Even with the county John, he was the first person that got in my corner. Was like, no, you could do it. Like, I was like, hey, this is really big. I'm spending money. He's like, you got it though. He's like, people are gonna come.
Right.
This is how we could do it. And just jumped on board. So there's a lot of things that I say, man, I don't know where I think the natural talent, the natural aptitude would be undercooked if I didn't have my pops.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that piece too, because now we talk around the matriarchs, we talk about pops, and another part of a foundation is what I'm learning more of is your religious foundation.
Yeah.
And so can you talk around your relationship to religion or God as well, and how that's also shaped who you are and how you were able to look for support in different ways? Yeah.
My relationship with religion is really interesting. I think some of the biggest place I've been hurt in life is church. If I'm just being very honest. But then and some of the ways that the Bible has been used, but also my core belief that God loves me. Even in those times where I'm questioning him. And I don't think they show up in this piece, but I have pieces where I'm like, nah, God, like I have a piece called Box with God. And right after I did it, I was like, please don't strike me down. I was like, don't actually box with me. Yeah, don't actually box with me. But it was important as a grounding tool. What are the core principles that the belief system teaches me? Love, grace, mercy, humility, peace, joy. And those are things that no matter what the circumstance is, I can turn back to. Right. So that's really that role. And how it consistently pops up. How even, I was down bad, y'all. Like the divorce, I was down bad. And a lot of things happened. I got divorced and my best friend died within like a 6-month period. And it was just a period of like, yo, I'm not good. And how goodness still came from it. It is not a good situation, but goodness still came from it. Blessing still came from it. So it's the principles of the faith are often what anchor me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we talk around your tribe, your people who put you all, who helped you get back together, but ultimately it's you who has to put yourself back together. So when I think around your space in reconnect is to link or be linked together again. And I think around just like your body, your soul, your mind, and your heart all being reconnected. So in this section, y'all, it's a lot of affirmation 001, 002, up to 4, 5, the crown, like all of this is all here. Yeah. And so where was that moment where you were just like, all right, Josh, I can't just sit here and wallow anymore?
Yeah, it started early. It was a process. I want to find the exact one. I actually took a picture. It's affirmation 001. My ex-wife left on March 5th. I think March 6th, my parents were in the living room. I was sitting outside. And I was like, I'm pretty. I'm going to take a picture.
The sun just hit you?
Yeah, the sun hit me.
Just right.
That was a joke, y'all. Y'all ain't laughing. Sheesh. But that was the first one. I said, today the sun kissed my skin, lips bringing warmth to a frost deep within, affirming my melanin, affirming my beauty, telling me that heat doesn't always mean you're in hell. And I think that's where it started. It was like literally in the midst of it. It was just this beautiful moment where I'm sitting outside and I'm like, hey, I feel horrible, but also I can't really talk to myself as bad as I've been talking to myself. Right. So from November when she said she didn't love me to March when she left, I was in here beating myself up. This is what I did. I could have done this better. I should have done this better. If I wasn't working this much, if I was making more money, if I was like all of the patriarchal things that we're told that your worth comes from. And there was a moment I'm sitting out there, man, I got nothing, but I need to be kind to myself. And it was funny. I had a session. Being a therapist is difficult because I be telling clients to do things I don't do. Yeah. So I was like, yo, I was talking to a client about affirming themselves in the mirror. And I was like, yo, I know this is weird, but you got to do it. You got to do it. And I think this was a moment of just practicing that. Like, hey, even if I don't feel great, I need to practice being kind to myself. I need to practice. And even if I start off externalizing it, right? There is, the sun is kissing me and the sun is this. And then later on in the affirmations, I do this thing where I talk to myself like I've already made it. So like it'll start off with like, boy, if you only knew, why did I forget it? Oh boy, why is you pressing? Like your presence ain't effervescent. Like on your worst day, you ain't impressive. Like I was like, I'm gonna start talking to myself like the 6-year-old version of myself sitting in his rocking chair, being like, no, like you're gonna get through this. These are things that you need to know. So it started in just a moment sitting and letting the sun hit me, and then really reflecting on the things I teach my client, and then really having to press in.
Yeah. And so when you get that moment to like, nah, I'm that guy. Stop playing with me.
Yeah.
After you get out of that mode, there's also this moment of recognition of having to move on. So there's like another period of learning how to grieve and move to like what's next, and that fear of the unknown of just like, am I gonna love again? Am I gonna be hurt again? What is this? So when you had that moment of like recognizing like, I'm gonna be okay, where did that moment come to say, now I can start exploring love or risking romance?
Truly an accident.
Not an accident.
Yeah, like no plan. So my girlfriend's right here, Synovia.
Hey girl. Hey Synovia.
Yeah. So Synovia is a phenomenal singer. She will be at the County Join. We have tickets available for the County Join. Oh, you got yours. You did. We'll make sure you get your tickets today. Again, that was a joke, y'all. I know I'm talking seriously. Shit, golly. So I'm planning the second County Join, and something happens with my co-host, and she can't sing. So I hit Synovia up, and we sit down, and we're talking, and I'm like, uh-oh. I was like, she's kind of cute. And I was like, oh, this is a good conversation. Oh, we're going to get lunch. And I was like, all right, no, we're not doing it. So I came home, and I was talking to my dad. I was like, nah. And my pops was like, hey, don't overthink it. And it was just a moment where I was like, hey, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to know what my wounds are. I'm going to know what the things are, but I'm going to risk what can happen, right? And I think that's the beauty and the drawback of love. There's so much wonderfulness that comes out of it, but there's the risk of having your heart broken.
Yeah. And
I survived it once. Like, worst come to worst, I could survive it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that beautifully transitions us into your last space, hope.
Yeah.
And you started to allude to it, but you define hope as a verb. It means to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or be true. And so your relationship to hope, you alluded to it a little bit, but what is that piece for you? How do you find that hope? How do you sustain the hope as you were going through this?
Yeah, hope I've had a interesting relationship with hope in that it sustains me and I don't like it because it opens me up to be hurt, right? If you don't hope, you can't be hurt. But if you don't hope, life is really dull. Life is really drab. So specifically, I think hope is in, and not just romantically, hope that life will get better. Hope that I will not always feel as bad as I feel. Hope that the beautiful things will come. And I think without hope, life is meaningless. Like, it's that thing that says, hey, even though this bad thing happened, this good thing is coming. Or even though this good thing is coming, this sweeter thing can come. These things can sustain. And particularly in today's world, and for me specifically being as sensitive as I am, there are times that it's this back and forth between hopelessness and hope. Like, oh, this other horrible thing happened in the news, but I can grab onto this. Or my heart was really broken. I was really wrung out. And also there is something that I can grab onto and keep going. So it's really this back and forth. And I try consistently to lean into it. And I think I made I have 3 hopes in this book that I won't read to you guys because I want you guys to read it. But using that language and what it is to say, these are the things that I'm going to hope for, specifically in the arena of healing and love.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I think last-ish. What would you how would you affirm Josh 12 years ago?
Yeah, wow. That's a great question, man. Again, you're talking to my therapist.
We don't speak that. Stop playing.
Yeah. I think Josh 12 years ago, I would tell him to pay attention to the beauty. One of the dangers that I have is that I'm driven, so I don't always celebrate the successes. Like, this is a success. This is a win. There are people, you guys are here listening and engaged and hopefully taking something out of it. So I would tell, 18, 19-year-old Josh to celebrate the wins, I would tell him he's lovable. And I would probably just spend a long time on you're lovable. Even in the rough parts, you're lovable. Even in the places that people don't respond to, you're lovable. Even the places that aren't affirmed, you're lovable. Because I think just knowing that in the last year has allowed me to do a lot. So the thing about my tribe is they didn't let me question that. They were like, no, you're lovable. No, we love you. Yep, you're sad, you're crying. It's been about 2 hours of you crying. You're lovable. Oh, now you're just being funny dancing around this joke. You're lovable. Accountability, you're lovable. Right. And it was this constant thing. So I think that would be the main thing that I told, or I would tell 18, 19-year-old version of Josh. And I still tell my inner child now, you're lovable. Right. Like you are worthy of loving.
And now, what do you tell yourself today?
You are lovable.
Every single day?
Yeah, consistently. And when I don't, it shows. When I don't, you see the depression on me a little bit more. When I don't, you feel the weight on me a little bit more. And that, I think the other thing, particularly for now, is that the hard times won't kill you. Right. Yeah, like, I think that, like, there are moments where it's like, man, I won't be able to overcome this. And then I have. And obviously, with the help of my team, but also, I'm pretty resilient. I just, I ain't easy to take out. Yeah. Yeah, so even giving myself that, like, you're resilient, you can get through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, last but not least.
It's like your third last.
I'm sure. Okay, it all comes in threes. Stop playing with me. But what do you hope for yourself in the future? And what do you hope the audience gets away from reading your book on their first go around?
Great question. I think for myself, I hope to find and to live in joy. Constant battle. But I'm committed, not even just hope, like putting action to that. I'm committed to finding the beautiful things. I'm committed to remembering these moments, to writing these moments down. And I think for you guys, as you read the book, a couple things. One, reveling in what a love story is, that even the Bible says love never fails. I don't look at the end of my marriage as a failure. That love still exists somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's just not between me and her. And then really getting the sense of healing. It's How to Grieve is not an instruction manual as much as it is a place to guide you along your journey, and not just grief in romantic relationships, but grief over job losses, grief over losing somebody, that place of really taking the time to find the beauty in it, to say the last good word, and then to do the work, right? And it's work to get in touch with your pain. It's work to get in front of your tribe. Like, it wasn't easy telling my people, like, y'all, I'm down this bad. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what's going on. It's work to really reconnect with yourself. I think no matter how old we are, we have an inner child. We have a child that lives in us, and getting back in touch with that. And then again, no matter how old we are, no matter where we are in the journey, there's always something to hope for. So that's what I hope that you guys get out of this. Yeah.
Once again, shout out to you. Everybody give him a round of applause. For real, like, you're gonna, one, give a lot of black men in particular. Yeah. This is something that we need right now. Mm-hmm. Seeing somebody else be able to go through this journey and witness this journey, and also gives us permission to navigate emotions outside of just anger. Mm-hmm. So just know that this is going to take it to a whole nother level. Mm. Everybody can gather something for this, but I know this is timely. Mm-hmm. It is important. It is needed. You're loved. Thank you. Your community obviously is all for you. So once again, thank you for sharing this.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to you.
Thank you.
Very good, sir.
Thank you.